Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back for another Sister Fives. We are back for another Sister Wives review. Blooper in the beginning, but we're gonna keep on going. So before I begin, let me apologize for any sounds you may hear. I want to make sure that I get this out to you all because I'm gonna be in the gym tomorrow, and I know I'm not gonna have time once I come home, and I have some other reviews that I have to do. But here we are. So Christine's mom has been at the home for a little while. We do not know what a little while is because they're not giving us a timeline, but it's been long enough that Christine says that it's been well, but the kids are taking longer than expected to get accustomed to things because they're not used to having another adult in the home. And part of me is wondering if it's because Cody wasn't there as much, or if it's because Christine's mom requires more things that they aren't used to, like, I don't know, obedience, because it seems like these kids got away with a lot and they didn't have a lot of structure. And Christine's mom seemed to be someone who may be kind of a little bit more like Mary when it came to those things. They're having a family gathering. The kids at this gathering are told about anthropology, how anthropology is the study of humans and cultures. And they are also told that they will be having anthropology graduate students staying with them for 4 days to study them. Robin lets them know that if they are uncomfortable and they don't feel like having an interaction with the students, that is fine and that they don't have to. To most people, this may seem like she's being a caring parent, but I kind of see it as yet another manipulative tactic. If that statement had came from anybody else, I could believe it. But I think that Robin was very uncomfortable with the idea of having people analyze them because of what they may have said. We know that Robin struggles with this. Part of the reason why Robin didn't like the whole idea of having Nancy be their therapist. So Mary adds to that. If they ask you questions that you don't feel comfortable answering, you don't have to answer that as well. And I think that's fair to say that they don't have to answer certain things. We then see Professor William, who we've seen before from the debate that was done at the university. And he's talking to his 2 PhD students, which is Richard and Antoinette, telling them what a great opportunity this will be to witness the family firsthand. And he wants them to think about what they can learn from it. How do this polygamous family, how do they manage to live in this type of environment? He wants to know who's the love wife, who's the sex wife, who's the mother wife. Antoinette, who's one of the PhD students, says that she's interested in seeing what the wives act like when Cody isn't around. She wants to see if the behavior changes and what types of complaints they may have. I don't think that the Browns are going to let them see the complaints because they've managed for so long to put on an act that they're going to try to present their best selves. So Janelle says when they went public, a lot of mean things were said. So she's interested in meeting these students and hearing their take on things. They make statements like that, but I don't feel like they're really ready to hear how people feel because they tend to struggle with people who oppose their views and the way that they think. We saw it with the debate and how intense it got between, example, Robin and Colleen, even though Colleen had already previously been to their home, how accusatory she was to her, where she wasn't listening to her experience with her sister wives. Instead, she was trying to defend herself and saying that all sister wives were not like that, but she wasn't acknowledging what Colleen said. So I feel like they say that they want to hear what people have to say, but do they want to really hear it if it's not something that they agree with? And the truth is they don't. We kind of see evidence of that later on with Robin. So the Brown adults come to meet the 2 students before they're going to be coming into their home. The students request that they are not treated like guests. She compliments them, Antoinette does, by saying that she gets the impression that they probably go out of their way to make sure that their guests are happy and comfortable. Cody makes a face while she's saying this, and Robin looks down. Janelle says that she's not concerned about them coming into their homes, but she is concerned about how awkward it may get because they're in their space and they're not going to have any downtime. Janelle said all of this, but I don't think Janelle really had to worry because it seemed that they were in anyone's space. It was Mary's because they ended up staying at Mary's house, but we'll get into that later. Confession, me personally, I hate entertaining. I'm really good at it, but when I was with my child's father, I had to do a lot of it, and it was draining to me. I'm one of those people who want to make sure that everybody's comfortable and everybody's enjoying themselves and they like their food. And I'm also what they call, an ambivert, where I have introvert tendencies, but I also have extrovert tendencies. So I'm really, really good at drawing people in, like when I'm in social settings with my friends and stuff like that. But sometimes when I'm done, I need to decompress, go sit in a room, kind of be to myself because I do feel drained. So I get what Janelle was saying, like it could be draining having somebody constantly in your space and not having, time to yourself when they're actually in their home. Robin asks if they're religious at all. In my opinion, I don't think that was a question that she needed to ask them, but Robin wanted to kind of formulate her own opinions about them because Robin really was concerned about the judgment. When is the last time that before this episode we saw them have one of their Sunday church gatherings? When is the last time that we witnessed any of them sitting in a still moment, reading the Bible or seeing them read some form of doctrine? So her asking this, I was like, but Antoinette said that she would be labeled as spiritual, where Richard says that his family would say that he's an atheist. That's not a problem for me either way, spiritual aspect or him being an atheist, because I've met some wonderful atheists. There are atheists out there that are some of the best people that I know. And I'd say that because they're not as judgmental. I just feel like a lot of different religions, because they feel like they're the ones that have it all the way right. And this is coming from someone who practices a religion as well. But I feel like because you think you got it right, that you look down upon other religions. And I don't feel like the atheists that I've come across do that. So Cody wonders if after watching them, they'll say that they're a functional family. Robin says, worst case scenario, they may view them and see that this completely doesn't work. I don't think that she had to worry about that at the time because, like I said before, they were going to put on their best act, okay? At this point, they've managed to do it. So, what is it? What is 4 days of acting? It's the next day. The two students arrive. They say how nice the cul-de-sac looks, and Cody immediately invites them to Christine's where she's cooking breakfast. Keep in mind, they're already doing something that they normally don't do because we know that at this point they were not having many gatherings like this unless the camera was around. Now, Janelle says she doesn't care about what they publish in any form of academia, but at the same point, she doesn't want to hear the negative things because she just doesn't want to sit and stew in it. If you don't want to hear what people have to say, then don't open up yourself in a national forum and don't invite these students in your home. But here we are. So they're introduced to the kids. Antoinette says that her initial impression of Cody is that he's a showboat. Richard starts to laugh because he said he noticed it as well. These are people who haven't even been with the family for a full 24 hours at this point, and they've already come to the conclusion that Cody is a showboat. So they're very good at their job. Richard says, yeah, Cody likes to put his best foot forward. He likes that he has long hair. He likes that he wears nice clothes. He likes that he has 4 wives. And then says he likes that he is the center of attention. And he does, because you can see how much Cody just adores being adored. We hear Robin in confessional saying that she's had a tense day, that her father is in the hospital, and she just feels off her game. Interesting choice of words, that you feel off your game rather than I'm sad or I'm concerned or whatever. You feel off your game. If Robin wasn't worried about performing, then to me, then them being there or not should not have affected the way that she maneuvered in that moment. Allow them to see that right now you have something going on with your father. You may not be as present because you may have to be at the hospital or whatever the situation is, but don't say you're going to be off your game. This wouldn't be something to me if I heard Christine say she would be off of her game, because I don't feel like Christine plays games, even though Cody has said over the years that that's what she does. I feel that Robin is the one that plays games. Let me know down below what you think. Robin asked if everybody is nervous, because she says she feels like she's nervous about them being around because they're strangers. They don't even know where the students stand because they could be anti-polygamy. And my question is, if they were anti-polygamy, would they have even been allowed in the Browns' home? And I think the answer is probably not, because anybody who directly opposes Robin, especially, even Cody, Christine too, I think those three have more of a problem with it than like Mary and Janelle. They seem to maneuver it a little bit better, okay? So he comes into Robin saying, just dropping by. We see Cody coming in. He says, we're just dropping by. I'm introducing the kids. They have this awkward embrace. Christine is sitting there in confessional saying like she too is almost looking for confirmation that their family is effective. We find out that the students will be staying at Mary's house. Robin says it's kind of scary because they're leaving these students a lot of power to tell the world who they are. How is it that these students are going to be telling us who you are when I thought that the point of the show on TLC was for the Browns to tell us who they are, which further makes me feel like what we get is a lot of acting. Why was so much emphasis being put on what these students may say when they're only staying there for 4 days? So they assemble for brunch. The food looks good. The kids think the students are awesome and they're non-invasive. So even though they were so worried about this, the kids are adjusting fine. The male student, Richard, says one of the first things that he notices is that there are a lot of kids that are running around and they're looking for attention from different parents and Cody. It makes him wonder if it's wise to have so many children that cannot get the necessary attention that they need. And I think that the problem for me comes into the fact that they have all these children intentionally. They intentionally have had more kids knowing that it was already a strain on the family. And Cody has aided in that process because Cody has wanted more kids. Like, that's one of the things that Cody wanted. I know it has something to do with his religion. They're supposed to expand for their family and for the community and faith and all those things. But are you really thinking about how that affects the children? The children kind of raise themselves with each other. There's only so much one parent can do. I see myself, and I have one child, and with his extracurricular activities and his martial arts and the clubs and stuff at school, it's like there's always other things that I have to do. And yes, I'm a single parent, so it all does fall on me. But I couldn't imagine having 13 children that I had to do that for. You would be missing things. And that's part of the reason why you always see like the kids vying for attention. And Brianna at one point was all in his lap. And then you see Savannah. It was just like, it seemed like it was a constant like tug of war between Cody. Cody asks the students if they feel like man was designed to be monogamous. Richard says, no, he does not feel like we were designed to be that way. Cody wants to know what our heart and nature tells us to do. And Richard says that in his mind, it's just not a monogamous thing. Cody feels like he's really, really trying to get these anthropologists in some ways to validate what he's thinking and what their beliefs are. And he knows it's stupid of him to look at it like this, because as a man in his faith, he shouldn't really care what they think. But the truth is, Cody cares about what we all think. That's one of the reasons why Cody goes on the tangents and stuff that we see him go on, because he doesn't like America coming down on him despite him saying he doesn't care. He does care. Richard says Cody portrays himself as the leader of the family. Notice he says portrays. He didn't say Cody is. He said he portrays himself as the leader of the family. He says, so if I don't get inside of his view, then I'm not going to understand him or his point of view. We then see them setting up the backyard to do backyard games. The kids and some of the parents are surprised to see the students get so involved and play the games. We see Richard playing tag and stuff. We see Cody on the grill. And as soon as I saw him on the grill, I said, okay, the food shall be burnt. As soon as I type that in, we see fire coming out of the grill. Like, out of all the times that we've seen Cody on the grill, I think he got it right one time. Cody is not meant to be on the grill, but for some reason, I guess he feels like he's the man when he's on the grill. Anyways, they do this lame prank on the anthropologist students where they're each going to give Cody some of their food. As soon as Christine walks over with Cody in mid-sentence and gives him a piece of her food, we see Mary busting out laughing. Janelle is laughing too, talking about how she's going to have to go to the bathroom because she's going to wet her pants. They thought it was really, really funny. I was laughing at them laughing. Then Mary and Robin are in another room and they're laughing hysterically. And then we see the kids get on it. We see all the wives just feeding him at different points while he's talking. And you see them looking like, okay, but they're not saying anything. So then they assemble outside to do these s'mores. We then see the wives talking about like the s'mores and if he wants the chocolate or how he wants it assembled. And we see all the wives get together and they shove their s'mores in Cody's face. Okay, so he gets stuffed in the face with 4 s'mores. They're doing all this to get a reaction out of the students, but the students aren't going to do anything because it's their job not to give them a reaction. Janelle said it makes her wonder if they're being pranked because they're not getting any type of visible response from the students. Then we see them admit to the fact that they were just playing a joke. And Richard admits that he found it quite odd that they were feeding him the way that they were. They get excited about them finding it odd. But I'm like, okay, so what was the point of all this? Richard says, how do you sit there after this man after you've been at someone's table and this man has cooked you chicken and steak and stuff like that, and then you say to him, like, seriously, you have your wives feeding you? Antoinette and Richard enjoyed the prank because it allowed them to see the wives come together and interact together to prank Cody. So the adults then have a conversation about why people get married, but really it's not just the adults there because Isabel is standing there right behind Christine. And at some point I see Peyton as well. Richard talks more about what they're noticing the different relationships are now and how there's less marriage and there's more cohabitation. And he tells a story about how the moment he and his ex-wife said I do, that the interaction between them became so different. And some people have become fearful of that change that occurs with marriage. Rather than Robin hearing that he's saying for him because of what he's been through that he may be okay with there just being cohabitation, Robin hears it as Richard saying that that's the better way. She even says he feels like that's the better way when that's not what he said. This girl does not listen to understand. She listens to respond. At no point has either one of these students told them about about the things that they do being right or wrong. They're just having basic conversation here where they're telling you some of the things that they've realized in their studies. After all, they are working on their PhDs. I believe one of them is, I know one of them is working on their PhD. So Richard says some people are delaying marriage and children, and that's just a part of the times now. And Robin doesn't want her kids to hear this. And she keeps on saying that if it works for Richard and Antoinette, that's okay. But that's not, that they didn't say what they've done. It's obvious at one point he did it another way because he was married, but you're sitting here and you're jumping to conclusions based on what she's saying. The funny thing is what they're saying is accurate about how people are now approaching marriage differently. I have friends that I went to college with who were focused on their career first. They got married and they had children significantly later. So out of my friends, like my core group of college friends, I am the only one with a child my age, okay? I have a 17-year-old. The next earliest child is 10. So that's a 7-year gap of none of my friends having children. I was the first out of the group to have them. So that just shows you that there are some people who put career first, and they were married and they put career first. So there is truth to what he's saying. And this was further back. Robin doesn't feel like her children are mature. Please keep in mind she said this, and ready to actually hear that there are options with a marriage other than what they're teaching their children, other than what they're presenting. So you don't think that it's okay to talk about the other possibilities of marriage, but it was okay for her several seasons ago to sit there at the children's church when all the kids were around and talk to them about how her purity was taken away from her. So she thought it was okay to have this discussion about her purity, lied to her children as well as the other children about what their father, for those three, did to her. And she doesn't feel like it's okay to tell the truth about the different possibilities and variations of relationships. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. Anyways, that bird, I tell you. It's the next morning. They notice how quickly Robin, the students, was ready to throw up a wall. They said that they paid attention to that. They assemble for the Browns' church. I don't believe that this is something that they do every Sunday. I do believe that this is something that they did because the students were there. Cody is standing there looking uncomfortable as they do things. Richard and Antoinette are noticing that the way that they structured it and stuff like that, it does feel like church. But they also noticed that a lot of the older kids were not present at church, and it made them wonder where they were. I think a lot of the reasons why the older kids were not there because some of them had actually formed their own religious circles, and they didn't enjoy going to the church being lectured constantly by the different parents. They want to know what the kids' absence means. Cody says his older kids are choosing to be less involved with church today. Logan chose to go rock climbing with some friends, and Hunter got a bunch of homework that he needed to be completed, so he didn't come. And they don't have a normal service is what we see. So Janelle says they're at a stage where they're trying to figure out things for themselves. Robin points out that she noticed that Maddie wasn't there also. Then she remembered Manny is going to another church. That was a slight dig there, but whatever. We're going to let it go for now. We hear that a month ago, Janelle got a call from Madison, a text saying that she was thinking about joining the Mormon church. She was asked to disassociate from her parents' religion, according to Maddie. She isn't bashing it, but she doesn't agree with it. McKelty and Hunter think that it's great that she found this group that she's managed to connect with and that she wants to be a part of their faith and that she believes in it, while Logan says he doesn't really care about it because he's not religious right now. So Cody tried to tell us that the reason why Logan didn't come to church was just because he went rock climbing, when really Logan didn't come because he's also removing himself from their beliefs. So why didn't Cody just say that? I don't think he had time to talk to Logan about what he wanted Logan to say in that moment. Cody pulls Maddie to the side and tells her that he wants to talk to her, then asks the other moms to come and join. And we do see at least Antoinette up there. I don't like that these adults pick and choose when they want to act like they're going to parent from the same standpoint. We've been told that all these other decisions involving the children and that mother are between the mother, the father, and their child. But here we are because of this situation, because she's choosing to go outside of the faith and they want to talk to her as a whole. To me, it seemed like an intimidation tactic, but Maddie managed herself well. So Cody says they're engaged as a team because they want to make sure that she's doing it for the right reasons. I don't believe that, but that's what he's saying, whatever. Christine says, we got a text about you joining the Mormon church. And I was thinking to myself, what the heck? And I should have called you. Maddie says that the text was the easiest way to get the message out to all of them. She says that she started taking lessons with the missionaries who shared the gospel. Cody said he used to do this. Cody says, so you know all the requirements. Maddie says, yeah, but you think I'm joining for a boy. They said no. She said, that's not what you said. Maddie was about to go somewhere with that, but they cut it off. They obviously said some things to Maddie originally about joining this church, and I think they kind of toned it down a little bit because the cameras were present, number one, and number two, because the students were there. So she said, I started going to the church because I was depressed, and when I got there, there was a peace that she felt, that she knew it was something that she was missing. Janelle said that that's the part that she needed to hear, that they just wanted to make sure that she continues to associate with the family. Janelle says she's good with her not coming to church, but she doesn't want her to feel pressure to separate from the family based on what happens at her church. She wants her to still come for the holidays and things of that nature. I think that this would have been different if the students were there. I really don't think they would have been as calm, but the students appreciated how they handled that situation and the fact that they are allowing their kids to have this choice. So we see the family heading to the movies. This too is chaotic. They don't know how many kids it is. They're standing in at the line, and we're told that the total comes to $176. And I said, okay, yeah, there's no way that they do this all the time. Not for $176. We later find out that it's something that they do like 4 times a year. He sends the moms to the candy line as he waits for the tickets to print because they're taking forever. Cody claims that he's never been to a theater where he takes this long to get the tickets. Then there's an issue with them not being able to sit together. You can't think that you're going to have that many people and you don't send someone in ahead of time to get you guys seats. Just not going to work. Maybe they should arrive earlier, have one person go into the theater and reserve seats if you all wanted to sit together. So they don't all sit together. They all leave the theater because they're done with the movie. They talk about how much of a good time they have. We then see Gabe and Garrison have yet another fight. And this time it's over the front seat. We hear Janelle telling Garrison that he needs to get out. She said that she hears him saying, I'm going to get out, but I'm going to deck him first. This is where some of you may disagree with me, but I'm going to keep it real on this channel. The moment that Garrison would have said that, I would have yoked him up like this. I've done this to my son before, especially because he's significantly taller than me. I would have yoked him up like this, and I would have said, while looking up to him, who do you think you're talking to? Garrison was a brat on multiple occasions, and the way that he talks to his parents and the tone that he uses wouldn't work for me. So Garrison gets out the car and apparently swings on his brother. Janelle witnesses this, and at no point does she grab him. What am I trying to say here? She doesn't grab him. These kids run over top of Janelle. A bike is seen flying in the air, but what it is a security cop who was coming to try to break up the fight. Cody says that to this cop that I got it. These are my kids. He says to them, I never want to see that again. You two, if you do that again, you're done with your lives. Get a grip on yourself, man up, and take some accountability. Interesting, he's the one that says that. And some responsibility. Why is Gabe getting yelled at when Garrison is the one who punched him? But apparently there was more to it than we know. We'll find out later on. Garrison is supposed to be going to Hawaii to travel with ROTC. Cody is saying that he's considering not letting him go to Hawaii over that. For me, it would have been more than a consideration at that point. It would be a no because they've had to talk to Garrison too much. Janelle said this is a serious offense. This may be the worst thing he has ever done. She tells him, I told Gabriel that he had the front, but he surpassed what she said. He says, I'm sorry. He says, I hopped in and then I was going to hop out. Janelle says, no, you were not. He's going back and forth with his mother. Cody then leans in and says, this is not up for discussion. Stop talking now. None of them had control. The students see it as something has been boiling over and they had not been paying attention to it. and it erupted into this physical altercation in the parking lot. And I gotta agree with the students here, because at this point, this is like the third time that we've seen them have some type of physical altercation, with it being just between Garrison and Gabe. It became physical in the car when Gabe punched Garrison in the nose. It was physical that time when the whole incident happened upstairs with the game, and Peyton was getting told he had to go home even though Peyton didn't have anything to do with it. And yet here we are again, and it's being physical over a seat. Janelle says this is like someone being over your house and seeing what's in the closet, all the crap that you shoved in the closet. And to me, it's just them seeing like what y'all really go through. I think that these two fought all the time because they were just too comfortable doing it. And the way that they respond to each other, it rubbed me the wrong way. I got into arguments with my siblings and my cousins. I never got physical with my siblings, but it did get physical with my female cousins. I'm not going to sit there and say that it didn't, but not to this degree, because the one time that we really got into a bad fight, we all got into some major, major trouble. I'm talking about like somebody should have called CPS. I'm just keeping it honest. Somebody should have called the people on them, because the way I got water tossed on me and whelped up for trying to defend myself when my cousin was fighting me. Anyways, we see Cody and Janelle talking and Garrison. What? Okay, I think I was trying to say we see Cody and Janelle talking to Gabe and Garrison. Cody says in their family he doesn't really do the course correction stuff because he doesn't want to do that type of discipline. That he only sees them for a limited amount of time, and he doesn't want them to get to the point where they don't like him. Doesn't seem right to me, but it's their family, not mine. He admits to not being there all the time and not nurturing them, and as a result, he doesn't want to be constantly disciplining him. I feel like that sounds like you need to be around more so you don't have to worry about that type of crap. He sits there because they're at the table. The two boys are sitting across from each other, and the two parents are sitting across from each other at the square table dining room. He asks what happened. Gabe says he walked out the movie. He got to the car first. Garrison said, "You don't get to sit in the front seat." "I do." Janelle told him that Gabe gets to get in the front. Garrison gets in the front anyways, despite what Janelle told him. When he gets out, he throws a punch towards Gabe. Peyton grabs him. D pushes him away, and security shows up. Cody wants to know if he hit Garrison, and Gabe says no, and he says no. Cody says, "Why would he come after you if you didn't touch him?" And I'm just like, okay, Cody, that's just what he does. Now, it may be true. He may have hit him at some point. I don't know with those two, but he's so quick to act like Garrison hasn't shown these different levels of aggression towards his brother. So Janelle heard the boy say that "I'm going to deck you." So something ain't right. Anyways, Garrison says when he's asked his side that he thought it would be funny to go through the driver's side and get into the seat because the passenger side was still locked. He was already told no, so the fact that he did that showed that he was being disobedient to Janelle. Why even do that? He says he opened the door and reached in and slapped me. He says he told Gabe he's gonna slap him. But did we not hear? No, wait, I'm messing this up. Oh, he said he opens it up and says, "Gabe, I'm gonna slap you." We heard Janelle say that she heard he was gonna deck him, right? So Cody basically tells him that he is sentencing his brother to getting in trouble and possibly not being able to go on this trip. After he tells him that whole slapping thing, you have Gabe denying it, saying that Garrison hit him, and you have Garrison denying it, saying that Gabe hit him. Janelle says something's not right with your story, Garrison, because you were not going to get out of that front seat. When I told you to get out, you told me you were going to slap Gabe silly. She feels Garrison lost it, and she's devastated about the repercussions of him losing it. Cody says, "I just asked you to," one of the rules is, he's like, "What are my rules?" They don't know. He says to respect each other's space. And Garrison said, "Dad, that's not going to happen." What? Who are you talking to? This is part of the problem, though. This kid was allowed to do whatever he wanted to. So, I guess I'm a mean mom because he wouldn't be going on that trip. I'm not going to reward you when you and your brother got into it, number one. And I tell you something like respect each other's space, and your response to me is that's not going to happen. Like you couldn't even say that you'll try to. You just, with your little arrogant self, want to sit there and say that it's not going to happen. So you're not going to respect my rules. So then you don't need to go out of the country, out of the state, to an island. Anywhere. You can stay your butt right here, go to and from school until you can learn to respect my rules. Simple as that. So because they don't know who to believe, they're now going to pull Dayton and Peyton because they want to know what the truth is. And that is how the episode ends. You all let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I am on the road to 1,000 plus. You guys, I'm so excited. I am at the 1,000 people mark. What? Anyways, I'm excited. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please, if you have not done so already, like the button. It is helping me so much in this algorithm. Comment below. Say whether you like the show or not. Say if you feel like, oh, I got it. Who's guilty? Now, I haven't watched the episode, so I don't know what's come of it yet. But who's guilty? Do we think that Garrison is telling the truth or Gabe's telling the truth? And if the roles were reversed, would you allow Garrison to go to Hawaii? Until next time.